Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Good morning and welcome to the Anne Arundel County Delegation. I'm Delegate Heather Bagnall, Chair of the delegation with Vice Chair Delegate Dana Jones. Before we conduct further introductions, I actually wanted to give an opportunity to the chair of our of my committee to introduce her shadows today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here with Shadow for the day, and she's gonna do everything. This is the first meeting, and she came really with her mom. Yourself.
Good morning. I'm Emma.
And where are you from?
Maryland.
Do you live? Laurel, and this is her wonderful mom.
And nice to meet you.
Thank you for allowing me to introduce her. You know, she's young and she's the future, so thank you for your flexibility.
Absolutely. Thank you and welcome. I also want to introduce Mary Lehman from District 21, also from District 21, who will be offering our prayer and our pledge today.
Morning, everyone. Delegate Bagnall, am I beginning with the pledge or the prayer?
The pledge, I said it backwards.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what I thought. I didn't want to be wrong. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, delegates. Happy Friday. Beautiful sunny Friday and the end to another week of serving our fellow Marylanders. This morning, I am going to offer the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, it is in dying that we are born again to eternal life. And Madam Chair, if I could say also, this is the 5th anniversary of the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. And I just want to ask that we all keep the victims of gun violence in our prayers today. Thank you.
Thank
Amen.
you very much, Delegate. And thank you for those words. And I'm certain that the delegation will keep all of the victims in our hearts and our thoughts today, and their families. I want to go ahead and welcome our senators, Senator Don Guile from District 33, Senator Pam Beidle from District 32, Senator Brian Simonaire from District 31, Senator Sarah Elfreth from District 30, Senator Jim Rosapep from District 21, and Senator Clarence Lamb from District 12. I also want to once again welcome our guests from the Anne Arundel County chapter of the AARP who are watching us on the live stream. And our counsel, Matt Carpenter, our delegation secretary, Roger Massey, my chief of staff, Rory Nolan, and Josh Paper, chief of staff to Vice Chair Jones, who are providing technical support for this meeting. We have a packed agenda today, so my apologies to the body for the late change to the schedule. But as we get closer to some of our legislative deadlines, I do ask our members and the public to be flexible and to be patient with us. As a reminder, all of our delegation meetings will be on Zoom due to the space constraints. So our first speaker today is someone who is very well known to all of us. Senator Chris Van Hollen was elected to the United States Senate in 2016, but before he was our congressman, he was in public service right here as a member of the Maryland State Legislature. In 2002, he was elected to represent Maryland's 8th congressional district. And we all know that he is one of the hardest working members of the Senate, working on Capitol Hill, fighting for all Marylanders. So I wanted to welcome Senator Van Hollen.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Delegate Bagnall. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Thank you, Senator.
All right. Well, thank you for your leadership as chair of the delegation, and to Vice Chair Jones, and to all of you, delegates and senators. It's great to join you. Thank you for all your good work as you sprint through the 90 days. As was said, I served in Annapolis in the House of Delegates and the State Senate, and those years were incredibly rewarding and productive. I really feel that you are very efficient at getting good things done for our state. So I thank you. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations on those of you who are reelected, and congratulations for those who are newly elected. And I look forward to working with all of you. Obviously, many of the issues you're working with at the state level, we're also working on at the federal level. And of course, we all get calls from our constituents, and many times you may get calls that are best dealt with at the federal level, and we get calls relating to issues at the state or local level that are really in your jurisdiction. So look forward to continuing to work very closely with you and partnering with you. And in that regard, Jessica Clayton, who's my regional director, is with us today. So please always feel free to contact me or her on any issues, because we got a lot of work to do, and much of it together. And I always enjoy working with my colleagues, Ben Cardin and John Sarbanes and others in the delegation. So what I thought I'd do is just really.
Senator, I'm sorry, this is Jessica. Before you continue, are you able to turn on your video? We're not able to see you.
I didn't realize that. All right.
Good morning.
All right. Good morning, everybody. So I thought I'd just do two things quickly, because I look forward to any questions or comments that you may have. One is to just really quickly review some of the things we've been able to accomplish in the Congress with the president over the last 2 years, because much of what will happen this year and next year is the implementation of a lot of federal programs that will have a direct bearing on your work and the resources that are available to you at the state level. And then just highlight a few of the issues coming up in the coming months. So the American Rescue Plan, of course, was designed to help the country get through the pandemic and come out on the other side after we hit the peak. And that has been largely successful. The state got about $3.8 billion from that. Most of the state funds, we understand, have been obligated. There may be some that are still remain to be outstanding. I just mentioned that because we actually made the monies, which were already flexible in the sense of their allowed uses, even more flexible to include transportation projects. So I would just mention that in case you discover there's some remaining unobligated federal funds at the state level. And I think at the county level, and the county received about $110 million directly to the county for the American Rescue Plan. There's about $20 million left. And again, the uses of those funds are now even more flexible as you work with the county executive and county council. Infrastructure modernization bill, state of Maryland, you're going to be getting over $7 billion over the next 5 years. That's guaranteed funds. And as I understand it, if you look at all the county and Arundel counties requests into the state transportation department, all of those would be eligible for funding with these federal funds. And so leave it up to you to sort of compete for that pool of money. On top of the monies that are coming directly to the state, the $7 billion, there's $150 billion in federal funds for a variety of infrastructure related issues, where we can organize, we, the state and Arundel County, can organize to try to secure those funds. And so I urge all of you to be on the lookout for projects that can tap into that $150 billion fund. The Inflation Reduction Act, I think you're all aware of some of the highlights. The president mentioned some of them in the State of the Union address. They mentioned the cap on insulin costs for folks on Medicare. I know at the state level, you've taken action there, but beyond that, of course, is a major federal investment in the deployment of clean energy and greater energy efficiency. And in those areas, you're also going to be seeing significant federal funds coming down, including a lot that are direct to consumers, for example, to help them with home energy efficiency. And as the federal agencies roll out the details of those programs, it'd be great if all of us can, play a role in informing our constituents about what's out there and available for them. This is everything from rebates for certain electric appliances to making your homes more energy efficient. So those are a couple of the highlights there. We are also, I say we, Senator Card and myself, Congressman Sarbanes and others, have been very focused on utilizing our new authority. We gave it back to ourselves after years without it to have congressionally directed spending. These are federal monies going to very specific local projects. Just some examples, we were able to get $15 million collectively in funds for Anne Arundel County projects this last time. Some of the highlights being the $3.5 million grant for Annapolis City Dock to support the design and deal with the resilience issues regarding flooding. $4 million for the Odenden MARC train development. Those are just a couple of examples of the kind of projects that were funded through these earmarks. There's not an unlimited bandwidth for these. We have to prioritize, but I just want to put that on your radar. And finally, as many of you know, because you've joined us on a number of occasions, Congressman Sarbanes and I are working on the establishment of a Chesapeake National Recreation Area, which we think will help even better protect the Bay, but also bring more federal resources to the Chesapeake Bay and help all those who make their livelihoods off the Bay, whether it's in tourism, boating, the watermen. And I do want to stress, as we look at this, we've taken a lot of community input. We're still seeking community input. So we welcome any thoughts that you have. We've got a draft piece of legislation that has been circulating. We have a web portal for people to submit comments. Once we get those comments, we expect to then introduce the legislation. I do want to stress that the legislation does not interfere in any way with state-owned property or take any private property. It's all on a voluntary basis. We're trying to get some sites designated for the national importance that they represent, and to tell the story of the Bay through the National Park Service as well. So let me end there. What we've done. Looking forward, we got to deal, as you know, with paying our bills on time, debt ceiling issue, federal budget, lots of other big issues that the president outlined in the State of the Union address, and I'm happy to talk about any of those matters as well. So good to be with you, and happy to try and answer any questions and welcome comments.
Thank you so much, Senator. And I'm giving our members a couple minutes to raise their hands and while I'm waiting for the members, if they have questions, I had a question about the infrastructure package. So one of the concerns that we're hearing repeatedly is about not just our crumbling physical infrastructure, but our crumbling technical infrastructure. Much of the technology in some of our state and local governments is 20, 30, even 40 years old. And of course, in technology, by the time it hits the market, it's already outdated and obsolete. So I was wondering if the infrastructure, if that's part of the package, is investment in technology, and if there's a path to funneling those federal dollars into state and local infrastructure, technology infrastructure efforts.
So we're experiencing the same situation, with many of the systems at the federal level. So I know what you mean. As to whether or not the federal infrastructure funds can be used by state governments for updating their own, computer systems and information systems, I don't think that that's an eligible use. The monies can be used, and there is a whole set of funds under the infrastructure bill and other bills for the universal deployment of high-speed internet. And in Maryland, those monies come under the infrastructure bill. They also came as an allowable use under the original American Rescue Plan, and Governor Hogan used about $400 million of those funds together with all of you in connecting more Marylanders to high-speed internet. And so there are additional funds for those purposes, for affordable connecting to affordable high-speed internet access. But as to using the monies for state government information systems, I don't think so.
No, I appreciate that. I know that there's that it's a continuing concern and effort, because we want to make sure that we're keeping up with technology. And I don't see any questions from other members. I want to give everyone a moment. Well, thank you so much, Senator Van Hollen, for all the work that you do. Thank you for coming before us. We really appreciate the partnership that we have with our federal partners and our county partners. And I really think that that the efforts that we put forth during COVID and working together really kept Maryland afloat. And we appreciate everything that you're doing for us out in Washington.
Thank you. Thank all of you. And I'll probably see you in Annapolis, but keep up the good work. Have a great session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry, I unmuted myself. All right, thank you, members. We are going to move to our bill hearings before the next presentation because we have some deadlines coming up. Our first bill is going to be on HB 492, the school bus operating length by Delegate Brian Chisholm. I just want to remind the members that this bill already has passed unanimously in a previous session. It passed the House unanimously. Additionally, it does have a hearing next week. So please make sure that you're listening carefully. And Delegate Chisholm, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the Anne Arundel County delegation. For the record, I'm Delegate Brian Chisholm, District 31, here to present HB 492. To reiterate what Chairman Bagnall just stated, we did pass this bill out unanimously last year, and then it passed the House unanimously and then got stuck somewhere between there and the Senate before making it cross sine die. So I've been asked by the Anne Arundel County Public School System to once again reintroduce it. There's a letter of support that should have been circulated within your emails. It's quite simply a bill that just gives them the flexibility to extend the operating years from 12 to 15, as long as they still meet all the vigorous and strict standards that we put upon all the school buses. It brings us kind of into line with, I think there's 15 other counties that already do this. It does not cut into the schools, the Board of Education budget. It just gives them more flexibility to be able to move those funds around, so it doesn't reduce their actual budget. And with that, Madam Chair, I just ask for a favorable report and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Delegate Chisholm. Do we have any questions from the body? Give everyone a moment. to raise their hand. Vice Chair Dana Jones.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I'd like to move to suspend the rules to hear the bill and vote on the same day.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. The motion is to suspend the rules and vote on the same day. Mr. Secretary, if you could call the roll.
This motion is to suspend the rules. Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Delegate Barnes. Delegate Barnes. Delegate Bartlett,
Yes.
Delegate Chang,
Yes.
Delegate Chisholm,
Yes.
Delegate Henson,
Yes.
Delegate Howard. Delegate Howard. Delegate Kipke,
Yes.
Delegate Lehman,
Yes. Yes.
Delegate Lehman again.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
sorry.
Delegate Munoz,
Yes,
Delegate Munoz,
yes,
Delegate Pena Melnick,
Yes.
Delegate Pruski,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Smith,
Yes.
Delegate Simmons, Delegate Simmons, Chairwoman Bagnell.
Yes.
By a vote of 13-0 with 3 absent, the motion passes.
Delegate Bartlett.
Madam Chair, I move that having 13 votes in favor, that we make this a delegation, that we make this a delegation bill with our support.
Can I ask you to hold that motion until we take the vote on the bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Mr. Secretary, can we take a roll call on the bill? This is a vote on the bill.
This is a roll call on the bill to pass is House Bill 492. Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Delegate Barnes, Delegate Barnes, Delegate Bartlett,
Yes.
Delegate Chang,
Yes.
Delegate Chisholm,
Yes.
Delegate Henson,
Yes.
Delegate Howard, Delegate Howard, Delegate Kipke,
Yes.
Delegate Lehman,
Yes.
Delegate Munoz,
yes,
Delegate Pena Melnick,
Yes.
Delegate Pruski,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Smith,
Yes.
Delegate Simmons, Delegate Simmons, Chairwoman Bagnell.
Yes.
Again, by a vote of 13-0, House Bill 492 passes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Delegate Bartlett, you wanted to make a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I renew my motion that this become a delegation, that we move to have this as a delegation bill.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded to make this a delegation bill. Mr. Secretary, if you could call the roll.
This vote is for House Bill 492 to make it a delegation bill. Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Delegate Barnes, Delegate Barnes, Delegate Bartlett,
Yes.
Delegate Chang,
Yes.
Delegate Chisholm,
Yes.
Delegate Henson,
Yes.
Delegate Howard, Delegate Howard, Delegate Kipke,
Yes.
Delegate Lehman,
Yes.
Delegate Munoz,
yes,
Delegate Pena Melnick,
yes,
Delegate Pruski,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Smith,
Yes.
Delegate Simmons, Delegate Simmons, Chairwoman Bagnell.
Yes.
By a vote of 13-0 with 3 absent, House Bill 492 passes as a delegation bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. If we can make sure we get a letter to the committee so they have it in time for the hearing. And thank you to all of our members. I know that that procedurally this can feel a little tedious when we're not in person. So thank you all for hanging with us while we made sure that we were being compliant and got everything on the record. With that, we're going to move to our next House bill, which is House Bill 710, Senate Bill 679 is the cross file. That is the speed monitoring systems. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself and as well as Senator Beidel and County Executive Stuart Pittman's administration to present House Bill 710, Senate Bill 679. Thank you very much. Good morning, Madam Vice Chair, members of the Anne Arundel County delegation. House Bill 710, Senate Bill 679 is authorizing legislation which adds Anne Arundel County to the list of approved counties to set up speed monitoring systems at locations at the discretion of the county, but within reasonable parameters as established by the state, rather than having to return to the General Assembly for each new system requested. With that, I will turn this over to Senate Chair Senator Beidel to further explain the current process and burden on the county and state without this legislation, and our county administration to explain why this is a necessary tool to help our communities. With that, I ask for the support of the delegation and welcome Chair Senator Pam Beidel.
Thank you very much, Chair Bagnell. You did a great job. We've been bringing in one road at a time to the Senate, and last year they made a rule they were not going to approve any further speed cameras. So this would give the county it's enabling legislation for the county. The county can put in speed cameras on roads where they feel it's necessary instead of us requesting one road at a time. So it would really be the county decision, but I hope that we can pass this bill to help the speed that's happening in our neighborhoods.
Thank you, Senator. I believe we have Pete Barron from County Executive Stuart Pittman's team. Mr. Barron?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pete Barron with the County Exec. The County Exec sends his greetings. You should have his written testimony in your file. Also joining me is Hannah Dyer, our Director of Fiscal Affairs, and Ethan Hunt from our Office of Law to help if there are any questions. HB 710 and SB 679, as was mentioned, are enabling bills. As both the chairs mentioned, the county, and I'm sure you all get a lot of constituent concerns with speeding in residential neighborhoods. This bill would allow the county to create a program to implement speed monitoring systems in residential neighborhoods on roadways where the speed limit is 35 miles per hour or less. This was in response to constituent complaints. We have only a limited bucket of tools that the county can use. This would add one more tool for the county to address speeding in neighborhoods. It aligns with County Executive Pittman's Executive Order number 58, which endorsed a commitment to adopt the Vision Zero strategies in Anne Arundel County with a vision of reducing serious traffic injuries and fatalities to zero. This, as Senator Beidel mentioned, this legislation will eliminate the need for a bunch of one-off bills. Instead, allow the county to make the determination through a community-driven process what's right for each neighborhood. So with that, I ask that you will move it favorably at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. I have a hand from Senator Delegate Bartlett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I like the bill. I just have one request to the county, and that is the language of the bill is the posted speed limit. Therefore, I would like to encourage posting the speed limit where there are speed cameras. I know there is a rule, I believe there is a rule that there is a default when there isn't a posting, but I would like for that posting to be included, please, with along with speed cameras, at least within, a certain amount of feet, whatever, whatever is reasonable to do. But if we could just at least have that posting as opposed to the default. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate Chisholm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a technical question that if you could educate me on. Right now, it's a legislative process that Senator Bidel was just explaining that has to go through the Senate. So if we pass the bill, is it a legislative process in the county? Meaning, does the county council have to vote on the location of every speed camera? And if not, who makes that final determination? I know you said it would be a community-based decision, but how is that decision made?
A good question, Delegate. First, I think now Delegate Prusky can talk to you a little bit about a lot of the work that's been done on the council. The county, to be clear though, the county does have the authority for these in school zones and construction zones already. So it's my understanding that we do not need individual locations approved by the legislative body, but the council is the final fiscal authority and will have oversight over the program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. Delegate Prusky, do you want to, you have a question or you want to expand on that a little?
Yeah, I wanted to explain as a former council member. So essentially, as we go through the budget process at the county council level, what happens is each department, subcategories, if there were an issue with a particular camera area, you could probably zero it out. Again, the council has final fiscal authority. I think one of the things that was mentioned in Delegate Bartlett kind of said is the biggest piece, I think, with this program is finding those parameters. People are generally overall, when you hear the town halls and other things in support of this effort, they just want it to be fair. And I think that's what everybody's asking for. And I think the county executive is looking to do that with this program. But ultimately, the council could, through the budget process, kind of have a say and having an issue with that. But I don't think overall there would be, we're going to cut the complete program, but just having a say through the budget process. Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Chisholm, does that answer your question?
Perfectly. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Delegate Lehman.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Bidel, I believe is who put this bill forward. I hope I don't cut out. My connection keeps cutting out, but I just wanted to say quickly that Montgomery did this a number of years ago, and then Prince George's County followed suit. It took Prince George's 2 years to get its bill through. I can't promise anything. I'm a member of the Environment and Transportation Committee, which would hear this bill, but because Montgomery and Prince George's have already done this, I think it's pretty safe to assume that the Environment Transportation Committee would grant this to Arundel as well. And it does make for safer streets. And as Delegate and former council member Prusky pointed out, it is what people, seem to want. We slow folks down. And, so if there's a good process for review, the idea is not to put a street camera on every single.
Delegate Lehman, I think we've lost you. So I'm gonna turn to Senator Bidel, but if we get you back and you want to complete your comments, we'll return to you. Senator Bidel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to mention, I actually have my code book out. but in the code, it does say that this has to be well advertised, like 14 days before the speed camera is installed. And there's warning that there is a speed camera. So there's still state rules about how you notify people that, you know, they have a speed camera coming up. And just to be clear, this is a civil citation. It's not a ticket to the driver. It's not points on the driver. It's basically, you know, it's on the car, who's ever driving the car that day, but the bill is going to come to the owner of the car, the registration on the vehicle. So it's not points on your driving record.
Thank you, Senator. Do we have any other questions from the members? With that, this concludes the hearing on House Bill 710, Senate Bill 679. If you have further questions, please make sure you reach out to the bill sponsor and to the county, because this will be up for a vote next week. With that, we're going to turn to the hearing on House Bill 520, Senate Bill 472, the City of Annapolis Alcoholic Beverages Art Establishment. And I'm going to turn this over to Vice Chair Dana Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chairwoman, members of the Anne Arundel County delegation. For the record, I'm Delegate Dana Jones, District 30A. Today, I have Jackie Coleman, the Executive Director of Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts, also here with us. Before you, we have HB 520, City of Annapolis Alcoholic Beverages Art Establishment. This bill would allow art establishments to obtain an annual liquor license. For the past decade, Maryland Hall has applied and for daily liquor licenses. In 1 year alone, they obtained 73 individual liquor licenses that cost $5,475. Furthermore, the amount of staff time sitting at alcohol liquor board meetings is somewhat of a drain on productivity. Maryland Hall has shared with me that they lose nearly 180 hours annually of staff time for these liquor board meetings. As many of you know, Maryland Hall is a nonprofit, and this amount of time and thousands of dollars would be better spent directly supporting the various programs, amazing events that they offer and make available to the public. I urge the delegation to provide a favorable report on HB 520, and we also have Jackie here with us. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Are they here just for questions, or were they also testifying?
Testimony, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here and for hearing this bill. My name is Jackie Coleman, and I am the Executive Director of Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts. I joined Maryland Hall back in March of 22 and learned very quickly that one of our key staff people spends many hours between the liquor board, between picking up the license, filling out paperwork. And I asked him to go back and do a review of how much time and how many licenses we've been getting progressively over the years. When we first started to get daily liquor licenses, it was in 2013, and we had much fewer of them. I think there was about a dozen that were asked for that year. So we've grown, programming has grown, and like Delegate Jones has said, it is about 180 hours of staff time a week, which equates to about 25 work days during the course of the year. And then additionally, I'd also like to say that we are able to benefit with about a $50,000 revenue because of the sales at the bars that happen at these various events. The people like to have a beverage sometimes when they're coming to see an event, but we also are able to subsidize some of our other programming with this additional revenue stream to really feed into the health of the overall organization. So thank you very much for hearing me today. I ask you to support the annual liquor license for art establishments.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman, and thank you for all your work. Thank you to our Vice Chair. Are there questions from the members? Hearing none, I believe this concludes the hearing. And just checking with my vice chair. This concludes the hearing on House Bill 520, Senate Bill 472. Once again, this bill will be up for a vote next week. So if you have further questions regarding this bill, just make sure you reach out to the bill sponsors and the proponents. And thank you very much for being here. And thank you for all the work you do at Maryland Hall. It's a real gem for our county. And as a longtime student and proponent, I love having our Arts Center here. With that, I'm going to turn our delegation meeting over to Chesapeake Crossroads Heritage Area. Chesapeake Crossroads Heritage Area, formerly known as the Four Rivers Heritage Area, is one of only 13 certified heritage areas in Maryland. The mission of the Chesapeake Crossroads Heritage Area is to protect and strengthen the natural, historic, and cultural resources of the heritage area, to nurture their discovery through educational and recreational experiences for visitors and residents, and to promote the region's rich legacy. Chesapeake Crossroads develops and supports activities and projects that enhance heritage tourism. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and to all of the Anne Arundel County delegation for the opportunity to speak to you today. Today is Tourism Day in Annapolis, so I'm especially glad to join you to talk about the reach and impact of heritage tourism in our county through our program. I'm Carol Benson, Executive Director of the Chesapeake Crossroads Heritage Area, a nonprofit organization based here in Annapolis. I'm here to give you an update on how we've grown and increased our reach over the past few years. As state legislators, I hope you see the Maryland Heritage Areas program the way we do, something to be extremely proud of. This is a very successful program funded from program open space funds at up to $6 million a year. We are a proven economic development tool and a model for other states that hope to develop a strong economic base in heritage tourism. The program is now fully statewide through the 13 certified heritage areas that focus on strategic funding that is fully matched. Studies find that the heritage tourists stay longer and spend more than any other travelers. And we know that Annapolis and Anne Arundel County is a highly desirable tourism destination. I'll note that as Delegate Bagnall said, we define heritage as historical, cultural, and natural resources. Our organization has just celebrated 21 years since our original certification. We were one of the first and have a long track record of creating partnerships and providing the funding that has strengthened the tourism experience here. In 2018, our board made the decision to undertake the process of expanding our certified boundaries. Other heritage areas had done small boundary amendments over the years, but we saw that in our county, we would need to undertake a countywide review of the cultural resources. We were the first heritage area to take this approach. I'm being accurate in saying that we did not have preconceived ideas about where we would end up, what the new boundaries would be, or what we would eventually call ourselves. It was a process where we learned along the way, and we involved our stakeholders in every step. We worked with Anne Arundel County's Department of Planning and Zoning's Cultural Resources Division to have them share their knowledge of the cultural resources throughout the county. And then our organization undertook our own assessment of the organizations and locations that have heritage tourism visitation or the potential for heritage tourism tourism. In my handout, I have a page with maps. First, on the right, the original and expanded boundaries are described in purple and green. And on the left, a screenshot from our interactive map to give you a sense of the museums, heritage attractions, and parks that are now in the expanded boundary. The expansion was approved in April 2021, and we essentially doubled our geographic footprint and welcomed many new partners to our activities. In 2021, our marketing name of Four Rivers Heritage Area was no longer a good fit. Working with a local marketing agency, we identified our audiences, involved our stakeholders, and defined our marketing persona And at the end of the process, we came up with our new marketing name, which is Chesapeake Crossroads Heritage Area. With our new URL, we updated our website and we developed social media that reach out to our two primary audiences. First is the family planner who decides on activities that will appeal to the whole family. And second, lifelong learners. I include the graphic in my handout that shows December's most popular post. The past 2 years have been a continuing effort to get to know new partners, share technical resources with them, and incorporate them into our network of committees, peer-to-peer learning opportunities, and funding opportunities. We created and have expanded a significant collaborative event called Maryland Day Weekend, now in its 16th year, where Heritage Area partners open their sites for activities for $1 or free throughout the 3-day weekend in March. This year, our theme is Stories That Matter. We have nearly twice the participating locations now all around the county than when we started. We're currently undertaking 5-year planning, and our process has included many stakeholder meetings at a variety of levels. And a short list of our many priorities for the plan includes those I listed on my handout: untold stories, inclusivity, stewardship, and more. Finally, my handout includes numbers to illustrate the tremendous impact that the state grant funding has had in our county over our 21 years. In summary, there have been 327 projects funded. The grant dollars now total $6.9 million. And because every state dollar is fully matched 1-to-1 or more, the total project costs total $23 million through this heritage area alone. A 2020 program impact study cites annual economic contribution of the Maryland Heritage Areas program at $2.4 billion, and our heritage area to be $244 million annually, but using 2019 data. I hope you'll agree that the Maryland Heritage Areas program and our heritage area here in Anne Arundel County are worthy of your interest, support, and future investment. Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and I welcome your questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Ms. Benson, for that presentation. I'm going to give the members just a moment if we have questions from the membership. Well, Ms. Benson, it seems that you did a phenomenal job. So thank you so much for coming to us and talking about the Chesapeake Crossroads Heritage Area. We are very, very blessed to have such an incredible resource right here in Anne Arundel County. And thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you so much.
You have a great day. We are going to turn now to our LBI, our Legislative Bond Initiative presentations. As a reminder to all of the presenters, we have a limit of 5 minutes for each presentation. And to a reminder to our delegation, please be mindful of ask your best question. Remember, these are our guests, our community volunteers and leaders, and we will have an opportunity to reach out offline if we need further information. With that, I want to welcome April Forer from the Children's Theater of Annapolis.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the Anne Arundel County Delegation, and thank you for having me today. I'm April Forer, Executive Director of Children's Theater of Annapolis. Children's Theater of Annapolis has been offering high quality theater and arts education and productions in Central Maryland since 1959. We moved to our Bayhead Road site 13 years ago. We are a community-based 501c3 nonprofit organization that is dedicated to nurturing the growth and development of the love of theater in children ages 5 to 18 through participation in all aspects of the theater experience, including performance, workshops, technical elements, community involvement, and apprenticeships. CTA provides a positive circle of influence through friendships that foster self-esteem, creativity, commitment, teamwork, appreciation, and dedication. CTA serves the child and the community. When we go out into the community, most of the comments we get or that we didn't know that there was a theater back there, that there are sports fields in Bayhead Park. With this sign, we hope to inform people of the many classes, workshops, main stage shows, and sports events that we offer for children and their families. The sign will sit on a 2-foot pedestal, making the total dimensions of the sign 6 by 6 foot, and will be a clear LED screen that will allow people to easily read what is being offered at Bayhead Park. I would be happy to answer any questions, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Four, and thank you for all the work that you do for the children of Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. Do we have any questions from the members? Seeing none, thank you so much. This concludes the LBI presentation for Children's Theater of Annapolis, and we are now going to turn to Barbara Obert and Elks Camp Barrett.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and Vice Chair. You all should have received a 2-page summary for your review following our discussion today. I would like to thank Delegate Bagnall for her sponsorship of our LBI request and Senator Guile for the cross file. I truly hope that the Anne Arundel delegation is proud to know what it is that you are hosting in Anne Arundel County and Elks Camp Barrett. Our 60-year history and 187 acres of facilities and deep woods do not fully show the uniqueness in what we do in service to Anne Arundel County and all of Maryland. Elks Camp Barrett serves a diverse population of organizations, 50 plus other nonprofits and beneficial organizations. So for example, in any given year, and we are year round, in any given year, we're serving drug awareness programs. There are 1,500 scouts who come in. There is a summer camp program for children who get to enjoy the outdoors and activities, many of them for the first time in their lives, free of charge. Additionally, children with cancer who come in who might not otherwise be able to move around an outdoor environment. We serve veterans groups and assist those who are injured as they transition back to or into a different kind of life. We have Naval Sea Cadet training, and we are also a model for stream restoration with the Bacon Ridge Project, and we have universities from as far away as Penn State to University of Louisville coming in to look at the model of these environmental restoration that we provide. So we serve more than 5,000 individuals annually, and as I said, more than 50 nonprofit organizations. But one of the unique things about Elks Camp Barrett had always been our self-sufficiency. 85% of our funding is donations from 19,000 elks around the entire state of Maryland coming into Anne Arundel County to provide the operations, the programs, services, and the infrastructure that we have there at Elks Camp Barrett. But we can't underestimate the impact of 2 years of COVID closures and restrictions on our organization. And as many Elks lodges and individuals around the state reached deep to serve their counties and communities around the state, some donating as much as $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 back into their local communities for each of the more than 37 lodges we have around. That was funding that was not coming into Elks Camp Barrett when we couldn't serve. And so we're at a crossroads here. And if you have the 2-page document I sent, feel free to take a glance at page 2. And we have a list of the shovel-ready projects for our request, which is $227,000. We have many of our facilities that have been there for a 30 to 40 year lifespan. They are at the end of their lifespan. They're at a point where they need to be rebuilt for ADA accessibility And we need to enhance our safety and security on the property. So those are our 3 areas of focus: end of lifespan, ADA accessibility, and safety and security. We're requesting our LBI grant funding for 5 very specific projects that we frankly cannot afford to move forward and get rebuilt and get accomplished. Replacing our pool fencing, our pool deck restoration for a cracked pool deck due to age, walkway repaving and widening for a half-mile walkway that enables children in wheelchairs, people with walkers, elderly and medically challenged alike to get around our camp property and make full use of the facilities. Our sport court replacement to not only rebuild it for multi-use purpose, but also for that same accessibility. And our bathhouse roof replacement. As many of you know, if you have a 40-year-old roof on your house, it is way past its lifespan. So I thank you for listening to our request today, and I'm open to any and all questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Do we have any questions from our delegation? Give everyone a moment. Seeing none, this concludes the presentation on Elks Camp Barrett. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for the good work that you do. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over now to Old Severna Park, Train Museum, and Wally Bixby. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. I appreciate the time. I'm representing Old Severna Park Improvement Association. We're a nonprofit organization within Severna Park with the main objectives to try and promote pleasure recreation for our members and for the management of community property and financial assets. We basically we are charged with making the rules and regulations to control and maintain the parks, beaches, walks, landings, roads, buildings, and other areas owned by the association. One of those areas is the Severna Park train station located at 3 Riggs Ave in Severna Park. This building was originally built in 1919 and expanded in 1925. It has served many purposes over the years as a train station and post office initially, then as an overflow for the elementary school next door, a variety of other things. Since the late 70s or so, it's hosted the Model Railroad Club there, which has been rated a top 10 model railroad display in the country. It is open Thursday evenings throughout the year for the club to participate and people to come and observe the trains and look at it. It's also opened on the tree lighting that the Chamber of Commerce does. So lots of people pass through there and use the space for the community. We are looking to try and repair and clean the roof, which needs some work. Upgrade the HVAC system to make it more efficient. I think the HVAC system has probably been there since the 70s or so. And looking at it the other day, we want to try and upgrade the electrical lights on the outside and inside of the building, clean and repair any of the soffit and trim around the windows and doors, and then upgrade the landscaping and walkways to make them more accessible and safe for the community. We've already started some of this project with some landscaping from the association, where we've removed non-native invasive plants and replaced them with some native plants that are going to be more beneficial to the environment. So that's kind of the basics of what we're attempting to do with the train station, is to make the area around the train station safe and maintain the building so that it can continue to be a focal point for the heart of Severna Park as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bixby, for all of your work. Are there any questions from our delegation? Seeing none, this concludes the presentation on the Old Severna Park train station. Thank you so much for being here, and that really is a gem of a building in our county. And we're going to turn to our final presentation today. for the Early Heights Fire Station. Welcome, Chief Crawford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. Thank you, delegates and senators, for giving me a few minutes today. Early Heights Fire Department's been around since 1918. We're the actually oldest volunteer fire company in Anne Arundel County, existing and operating out of Severna Park. The station we're currently in was built in 1957. The members built it basically using their own hands and own time and own money at that point. That building has become obsolete in today's fire world because it was built for males only, stairs, no elevator, no ADA, none of those conveniences, I guess, that today we expect. The station itself is actually crumbling, and basically the facility in terms of how it's constructed just hasn't held up to the elements from where we're at today. The doors for our apparatus to go in and out are only 10 feet tall. Today's fire apparatus, modern fire apparatus, is about 11 foot, 6 inches tall. So when we bought the new squad, we had to actually raise the door on our own funds so that could go in there. Early Heights serves not only the Severna Park area, but Pasadena, Glen Burnie, City of Annapolis. We go to the airport on any alert call. We go to the Naval Academy, and we go over towards Millersville. So we have a wide area that we respond to out of our station. This building is in dire need. We have, like I said, we do not have gender appropriate facilities. It's not ADA compliant. I know if we get into it, it's got the tile floor and asbestos and all those things that a building today shouldn't have. So we're asking for funding to get started on the project. It is shovel ready. We own the 11 acres of land we're on. We're also going to go obtain a loan from the bank to help fund it, besides the fundraising our members do. We are one of the 15 volunteer fire companies in the county that we actually own the buildings, and we're responsible for the buildings. We also own all the apparatus and responsible for all the purchases. We just bought a new fire engine and a rescue squad to the total of $2.1 million. That comes from our members and the fundraising we do. So we're asking the state to help us as we embark on this new project for a facility that will not only serve the Severna Park, Millersville, Pasadena, but the entire part of Anne Arundel County as we do respond in the home county as we're part of the county system. I appreciate everybody's time today. I'll be happy to take questions. I'm happy for anybody that would love to come take a look at the building to contact me, and I'll take you for a tour, show you around, and kind of explain how the accommodation system works in Anne Arundel County. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Crawford, not just for this presentation, but for all you do. I'll give the members a moment to, if there are any questions. Seeing none, I just want to say thank you, and we will take you up on that offer. In fact, I'll reach out to the delegation, see if we can set up a coordinated time to come out and visit and not just see the building, but hear all about the coordination of fire and emergency services in the county, because we would really appreciate that. And thank you once again for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you for all that everybody does for the state and our county.
This concludes our LBI presentations for today. Next week, we will be voting on the bills that we heard today. We will also have more presentations of local bills, as well as remarks from Congressman Sarbanes, the Chesapeake Bay Trust, and the Fort Meade Coalition. So thank you for working with your organizations to get your LBIs on the schedule. If you have local bills and you are not on the schedule, please contact Secretary Massey today. We want to make sure that everyone gets their bills heard before the delegation so that we can support you in your efforts when it comes time for your bill hearings. And we want to make sure we are helping you be good stewards of your bills. So help us help you by getting that information to us. Also, make sure that your LBIs are on the schedule. As a reminder, all presentations are limited to 5 minutes. Due to some conflicts for our members today, we will be holding our delegation photo next Friday. As a reminder, the time is to be determined. We're trying to figure out whether it's going to be right after delegation or right after floor. And I need to, we just need to do a little more coordination. Organizations who wish to be acknowledged, remember you can email our delegation secretary at aacd@mlis.state.md.us. And are there any other announcements from the members? Any announcements from the delegation? Then can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. We are adjourned. Have a great weekend, everyone.